Welcome guys, we're here talking about your top 3 movements to help build your posterior chain. That posterior chain is so important for the movements that we do in the gym. Those are the weight movers, the heavy hitters for the gym. So we want to make sure that they're strong and ready to go. Obviously, if you had to pick 2 movements, it's going to be the squat and the lunge. So for this top 3 movements, we're going to exclude the squat and the lunge. You should be doing those already. Posterior chain is going to be your glutes, your hamstrings, and your back. So these 3 movements are definitely going to focus on those 3 areas. All right, so let's get into it. All right, our first movement is the hip thrust. Right, you're going to need a barbell or some kind of object. It doesn't really matter, anything that is relatively heavy, but generally we're going to be using a barbell, and we're going to need a bench or some kind of object you can lean on. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to sit right in front of our bench, and we're going to load the object onto our hips. Then we're going to set our back into the bench, bring our hips off the ground, plant our feet. Then we're going to start our reps. We're going to extend our hips to the ceiling, squeezing the butt with a slight pause in the top. What this is going to do is it's going to help really focus in on our glutes and our hamstrings and really help build them up. This should be done in bigger sets, so somewhere between 8 to 20 reps is what we should be doing this in. 8 to 20 reps, somewhere between 3 to 5 sets. What we really want to focus on, like I said again, is bringing the hips all the way locked out, squeezing that butt, squeezing the quads, holding for 1 to 2 seconds, and then going, relaxing back down, continuing to hit those reps. Hip thrust, great movement, give it a try. All right guys, our second movement is the Bulgarian split squat. This is great, obviously, like we mentioned before, for building our posterior chain, but it's also a great unilateral movement to help correct imbalances. So you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. You're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So to set up for this movement, all we're going to need is a bench and some kind of object to weight it if you're ready for that. So we're going to find that bench. We're going to bring our heels to our calves to the edge of the bench. We're going to step out with 1 foot, and then we're going to bring our other foot onto the bench. We should make sure that our foot is nice and flat and we're in a good wide position. Then we're going to squat so that the crease of our hip is below the top of our knee. Once we hit that range of motion, we're going to fully extend all the way up. When you're done hitting however many you're going to do, we're going to switch sides. When we switch sides, again, we're going to find the bench with our calves, step out, and then hit your full range of motion. The big thing for this is making sure to hit that full range, making sure we're getting that crease hip below the top of the knee. It's it can be very challenging when you add balance into that situation to hit that range of motion. So take your time, find your right footing, and make sure you're nice and stable. Again, this can be done with any object, a kettlebell, dumbbells, a barbell. Just be mindful if you're using a barbell to keep it relatively light. This is another movement, just like the hip thrust, that we should use a bigger rep range for. We're looking again somewhere between 8 to 20 reps, and 3 to 5 sets would be a great place to start for this movement. All right guys, have fun with this one. You're going to feel it in those glutes, I promise. All right guys, our third and final movement is actually a combo movement. It's the Glute-Ham raise or the Nordic curl. Not everybody has access to a GHD, so we're giving you a little option if you're at home. So this one is a really big mover of the hamstring. And both of these are very difficult movements, and it's one of these movements that you want to build up to. You can use assistance, use a band, or use a partner to help you build up to this movement. And there's a bunch of different variations on this movement as well, but very difficult movement, so be mindful of that when you're just starting out. It might be a little challenging. So this is how we're going to set up for the Glute-Ham raise. We're going to set up the GHD so we're relatively close to the pad. We're going to be facing our belly to the ground. We're going to make sure our feet are nice and secure in the GHD. We're going to control our descent so we're parallel to the ground. Now this is where the hard part comes up. We're going to pull ourselves to that vertical position using our hamstrings in as strict of a movement as possible. Now the caveat to this, the closer you are to the bench, the little bit easier it's going to be. The farther away you come from that pad, the bench, the harder it's going to be, right? Because the lever is longer. So start closer to that bench, a little bit more of an incline with the shins to build up to that movement. For the Nordic curl, what we're going to do is we're going to find a way to fasten our feet to the ground. If that's using a couch or a buddy, we're going to have somebody anchor our feet to the ground, and then we're going to start in a vertical position, and we're going to drop down to the ground so our belly hits the ground. But we should control that motion down. We're trying to do a negative or a controlled descent. And then we're going to pop up. When we pop up, we're trying to pull with our hamstrings back to that vertical position. And this is going to help build the hamstrings. Again, take your time with this one. Get some assistance if you need it, and slowly build up the capacity in those hamstrings. All right, so that third one, glute ham raise, Nordic curl. I got a 2-for-1 combo. All right, guys, have fun with it. All right, guys, so that's 3 movements to help you build a rockstar posterior chain. Like I said, the posterior chain is so important in life and in sport and in the gym. The stronger your posterior chain is, the more weight you can move, the faster you can move. And then also it's going to keep you safe in life. You're going to be able to stay injury-free, pick your kids up, pick up that dog food, do whatever you need to do. Pick that branch off of the road. So being strong is always cool, and it's always harder to kill someone that's cool. Thank you guys, and cheers.